Grazie e buongiorno a tutti. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time in Siena, and I'm just amazed by how beautiful this city is, the cathedral, the baptistry, the crypt, and there's so much to discover. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And also, it is a great pleasure to see people who are in the field interested in this area. I think, as Giulio was saying, one of the questions he asked is the link between theory and practice. And sometimes we don't see this link very clearly. But the way we define a problem leads to the kinds of solutions we try out. If, for example, I believe that my leg is hurting me because a devil has come into me, I will rush to a priest who will throw holy water on me and do crosses and all sorts of things. Might help, usually it doesn't. But if I understand that there is an infection, and that's the way I conceptualize the problem, then of course the remedy is different. So it's extremely important how we define the problem. And here, in Giulio's slides for the whole conference and for this project, there is this beautiful phrase, widening the future. This is not just a phrase. For many people, this is absolutely crucial. For many of us, like, in a sense, myself, who was born at a time when many opportunities came to me, education was free, it's still free in my country, not in many other countries. Widening the future is so important. I think of my mom, my mother, who died last year. She was a brilliant woman, on radio, TV, writing plays, painting, unstoppable, a devil of a woman. When she married, the laws in my country said, you have to stop working. You have to raise a family and be a mother. That's not widening the future. That's closing opportunities. This is very serious. I remember my mother looking at me and saying, I have done nothing in my life, you know, with that anger of the Mediterranean woman. And I would say, well, you made me. Not bad, she said. It's not bad, but I had other plans for myself as well. So widening the future. For women, in many parts of the world, women are still kept back. For people from certain modest backgrounds, who cannot dream, as, you know, there was that beautiful picture of Le Petit Prince, dreaming, okay? So career management skills or career education is not just blah, blah, blah. It's very serious for people who need skills, who need some understanding of how they can widen their opportunities. So this is what we're talking about. And the tools that you are creating to your project will help teachers in schools and other educators with young people, with adults, open up opportunities. And I've been very privileged in my life to go around the world helping agencies, ministries develop these kinds of skills. The last I have done was, believe it or not, in Palestine, in the West Bank, and in Gaza, believe it or not, where the ministries of education wanted, you know, how can we overcome the limitations, that so many limitations, it's not just the wall that has been built around them, but the many other limitations of tradition, of culture, of poverty. How can we open up and widen opportunities? So this is what I really enjoy doing and which I will share with you. But today, look at the title, it's a bit strange. This is Giulio's doing, and not mine, but Giulio challenged me, okay? He said, talk about career education and the liquid society. La società liquida, ma che cos'è questo? What is the liquid society? I'll try to show a little bit, discuss with you some things that trouble me as a person living in this century. I have prepared a number of points. We won't go through them. I will stop in time. But the slides will be available to you. Perhaps you can have a look at them. And those of you who are really interested in what I have to say, please do email me, and I will send you a full paper. Okay? So what we'll be trying to do together is we'll look at a little bit how career education became so important across Europe and beyond. I was just telling you about Palestine. We have done projects in Egypt. We have done projects in Morocco, in Lebanon, in Syria, though I won't go to Syria now or Egypt now. You know, different parts of the world, Slovenia, Croatia, so many parts of the world. Why is this becoming so important? And what do people hope to get out of it? Why the fuss about career education? And how does career education unfold is expressed in the context of schools, because there are many contexts in which we can educate about careers. But then I come to the main part of my presence among you, which is to ask a question, but are we really having people on? Are we lying to people? And we will talk a little bit about some of the problems of what is called postmodern or society in late capitalistic times. When we're talking about career, does career mean anything today with all the short-term contracts, the insecurity, the underemployment, the huge amounts of young people who have believed what their parents told them and what society told them? Study, because like that you'll be better than me. And these people are studying, they are getting their degrees, their masters, even their PhDs, and not finding work or finding shit work. Indecent work. So I want us, today it will be kind of looking at the other side, trying to see whether we are really honest with people. But let's start with the picture, the broader picture, and very quickly kind of try to see what's been happening. Since the year 2000, so the last 14 years now, almost 15 years, a lot of fuss has been made about career guidance. And a lot of fuss has been made about career education. We've heard Jorgen talk about the ELGPN, the European Lifelong Guidance Policy Network, with which I have worked for many years. But there have been many studies of career education in which Italy was involved in at least two ways, by producing your own report about what you're doing in Italy, but also by having an important agency in Torino called European Training Foundation, which also promoted many of these studies. So three major studies, one by the World Bank, one by the OECD, and one by the European Commission, which involved CEDEFOP and ETF. I was involved in all of this. I've read thousands of papers of countries writing about their systems, what they do in career education, what they do in career guidance. Some of the studies were focused on developed countries, so we read about Canada, which is very advanced. It's one of the countries, for example, where in terms of career guidance and career education for the primary, they even have what they call l'école orientante. The whole school is focused around widening opportunities for children, giving them the skills to make decisions, and developing what is called metacognitive skills. Understanding how your brain works in such a way that you control your brain. Metacognitive skills, which is one of the skills that makes Finland top of the class in the PISA results. It's because they teach them about their own thinking processes. Okay? So we were involved in Balkan countries and also in 8 Arab MEDA states, including Turkey and Israel, of course, but the rest were Arab states. And this has given me a very interesting perspective on how people position themselves in life in different contexts. I remember going to Morocco one day and sitting in the train going from Casablanca to Rabat. And next to me were a couple of English tourists, very nice, very talking, commenting. And the train passed through a station where we stopped. And a boy shouting in Arabic, but obviously trying to tell us, does anybody need his shoes cleaned? He's a shoe shine boy. We still have them in Europe as well. You know what I'm talking about. And the lady told her husband, I wonder, Does that boy know he's a shoeshine boy? Has he ever thought that he could be anything but a shoeshine boy? What future does he have as a shoeshine boy and his children? Very important question. This is what we are asking. When people think about themselves in this complex, complicated world, I mean, we're lucky. I have a job for life. Unless I do something really stupid, okay? I have a job for life. I have a pension, medical care. How many people have this? This is a huge privilege today. My sisters, 2 of whom live in Italy, have to sign a contract every year. If their boss doesn't want them, or he asks them, as one of them did, for a favor, and she says no, she loses her job. So we're talking about something very serious. Okay? When we talk about career management skills and career education, we're trying to empower people to take control of over their lives. And the question is this possible today? And here, what I do is just remind you that career education, what we're calling career management skills, I prefer career education as a term. Career management skills is too technocratic. It's as if with the skills you'll do everything. Career education is something else. It's broader. One focus is about teaching children for work. The other one teaches children about work. Questa è la grande differenza tra educazione and training. Because education gives people the power to decode the world they live in, not simply become trapped by it. So just to remind you that career education is just one. We can give career information. I won't stay. Okay? Just to remind us that there is counseling, employment counseling, job placement, the whole package of services that we can give in some of the most advanced countries where they take career education seriously. Career education is part of an overall package. And this is what career education does. Forget about all those words. Basically, the arrows tell us a lot about what we're trying to do. Life has become very complex. I can see from my own boys. I have 2 boys. They are now 24 and 25. It's going to be 26. It hasn't been easy. I mean, it's very easy to come and give a speech about career education. But to be a parent and do career education, it's another matter. They make fun of me. You who go and give these talks here and there, you're not helping me. You're not understanding me. Okay, so when we talk about experts, let's be humble. Let's be modest. And also understand that what our kids are going through is very different from what we went through. Okay? But basically it's trying to facilitate decision-making, facilitate understanding the complexity of life, and trying to survive in a society which has become extremely uncaring. Extremely uncaring. And also to remember that there is a huge difference between careers of middle-class people and bourgeois people like myself and yourselves, and the careers of others. If you talk about careers to people in the street, very often they will think about somebody who wears a tie and a suit, somebody in an office. There are more and more of those, but also more and more of people who do not have those kinds of jobs. So for some, career is a bit like this. This was my career. From school to school, from school to university, from university to another university, from university as a student to university as a lecturer. The sun is always shining, and I'm happy. This is not the life of many people. For some people, it's really, really complex. You know, sometimes I go with my wife on these, not in Malta. In Malta, in 20 minutes, you're around the island. All right? If you go on the continent or the States and you're driving, sometimes we start fighting because she tells me turn right after I have just passed where I should have turned. It's too complex. For many people, it's a bit like this. Life, you know you have missed an opportunity when you see that the road is behind you and it's too late. For some people, it is like that. For some people, career is that. It's like a big, big, big earthquake. The earth opens up in front of you. You don't know what the hell is going to happen to you. You've heard that you're going to become redundant. How can you retrain at the age of 50? My goodness me, I don't know how to do anything. I can't become a mechanic. I know how to put petrol in the car, and the right kind of petrol, but that's it. Other sorts of careers for people. And then you get that. And sometimes I feel like that. The system is too savage for many people. And they not only drop out of school, but they drop out of the system. And I want to hear what they have to say. I don't want to judge them. I want to see what they have to say. Very quickly, I'm going to miss the slides, the next slides. Even that, doesn't matter what we do in schools. I just want to speak a little bit about the last slides and then stop. The liquid society that I was challenged to address. Where does this word come from? Many of you will know that this comes from a very interesting Polish sociologist who lives in the UK, Zygmunt Bauman, all right? But also you find elements of this in Richard Sennett's work. I really strongly recommend Sennett's work, The Corrosion of Character, for example, about what it means to be a worker today. And here, they challenge so much of what we take for granted. First of all, is it true that there are careers nowadays? You know, career means in English, its roots, probably Latin, yes, Latin. It's about finding a pathway and going straight ahead. How many careers are like that nowadays? How many jobs? In fact, Sennett says we don't have careers, we have jobs. Jobs that you move from one to the other according to the opportunities that arise. Okay? Is it true that work is at the heart of our fulfillment? It is for me. I don't even make a distinction between work and leisure because I have fun working. But how many people can actually say it is fun to work? And how many people say, I live for the weekends. I live for my holidays. So when we talk about career education, let's be, hands and feet on the ground. Especially seeing that the way the world of work is organized nowadays, we see a huge growth in part-time work, which sometimes is good because it means that you can do other things in life. But for many people, it becomes more and more difficult to put the beautiful Italian food that you have on the table for the family. The growth of non-unionized work, which means that you are at the mercy of who's employing you. The growth of contract work, and therefore much more insecurity. The growth of indecent work, indecent in the sense that, human beings with our capacities. And we are told, I've worked in these kinds of jobs, and I've had students of mine, for example, a student of mine spent a whole summer as part of her thesis working in a textile factory. She nearly went crazy. Every day she was sewing zips, come si dice zip, nei pantaloni. Every day, she said, it's mind-destroying. God knows how many mind-destroying jobs there are, and it is part of the nature of profit-making to export skills from people into machines, because machines don't strike. The notion of arete, the Greek notion of arete, which means that you do a job because it's part of your contribution to the community. So even if it's a small job, you feel dignified. You have a contribution to the community. But today, where is the community? We're all individualized. We're all, little specks hoping for the best that we survive. Very little sense of the social, very little sense of community. And therefore, to conclude, just a few ideas. Let us do career education, by all means. Let us have career management skills. Let's open up options and widen futures for children and for young people and for adults. But let's also be honest. Because one of the dangers of emphasizing career education is that we are telling people, you didn't get a job? I'm sorry, it's your fault. You did not know how to plan your life. You don't have the skills to make choices, therefore it's your fault. And this is something that Bauman insists on. This is what he calls either individualization of problems, of social problems, or responsibilization. He makes a very interesting comment. He says there are, in pre-modern societies, people were like gamekeepers. They followed the rules, like my mother, you know, as a woman, when you work, when you stop work, when you marry. In modern societies, people became more like gardeners. You tend your plot, you imagine the beautiful products, and you take care of it, and you have the satisfaction. Today, in postmodern society, you have become hunters. You either hunt or you are hunted. And Bauman says this is what's happening. People are being hunted. They can't really have what in your beautiful language you call un progetto di vita. You cannot have a life project. Impossible. So when we're talking about skills managing life, what kind of life is there to be managed is a question. So we have to be careful. Do not pathologize. Do not think that people can't find work because there's something wrong with them. Today, if you go with 2 earrings, you might not be chosen. Not because you have earrings, but because there is no work. If we needed workers, you can go with 8 earrings in each ear, 1 in your nose and another in whatever part of the body you want. You will be taken because we need you. So let's not pathologize. Let's not put the blame on people. Why did you leave your last job? Well, the company relocated and they didn't tell me where, okay? Our career education does not create jobs. This is a part of the macroeconomic political system. The choices that our governors, politicians, if they are wise, make in making our economy work properly. Do not think people are stupid. First of all, there's a bit of a, question mark. Who am I, who has spent all my life in universities? Who am I to go and teach kids about life? And secondly, people, they learn a lot from the street. They are very streetwise. Even leaving school is a good decision sometimes in my country. We are one of the countries with the highest rate of early school leavers. When we go and check what they're doing, some of them have made very wise choices, given the situation, given the system, given their responsibilities, given the money they can make. Do not blame the victim. Don't forget that in most countries, governments export problems. The economy is such a difficult thing to manage that many governments prefer to say, it's the problem of the schools, it's the problem of teachers, it's the problem of the curriculum, it's the problem of parents who are not taking care of it. Government export problems because the economy, nobody knows exactly what the hell to do with it. Okay? So let us do career education, but let us be honest. Thank you very much.